live and online. It's Sleepless with Steve and the Movie Book Club with your host, Steve Pulaski.
Back and better than ever, Sleepless with Steve, live on YouTube on this Wednesday evening, a little more than a week out from Thanksgiving, last show before our Thanksgiving holiday. And I think we could all use a holiday, speaking for the three of us. Steve Pulaski with you, Joe Viso on the theater screen, Dominic Guanzon as well. The gang is all here. Last show before break, last show of November. Truthful, I think, yeah, because is it the first on a Wednesday, I believe? Yes, I believe it is. So, yeah, last show of November 2021 as well. Yeah, somehow we're more than halfway through November. I can't figure it out, but I'm exhausted, so it had to have happened at least. It was Halloween, I swear to God, about 12 hours ago, and now look where we're at.
Dude, holy shit. I was just thinking the same thing.
Honestly, yeah, less than a month out from Thanksgiving. One of the radio stations for which I work is already playing Christmas music. Tis the season. And there is a lot of movies coming out in the next few weeks. I swear, I think 5 are on my radar next week. I think 5 are on my radar already. So there's a lot of stuff coming out. And of course, Joe messaged me to add more stress that Reno 911's getting a movie now again, because these things just pop up like 3 weeks in advance. Like 3-4 weeks in advance. You get no time. There's no 6-month promo.
It's so weird that what streaming has done now is literally a movie will be announced either 3 weeks before it comes out, or it'll be hey, this movie's coming out this year, no release date. And then 3 weeks before it comes out, it's oh, by the way, here's the trailer, and it's coming out in 3 weeks.
I used to be oh man, hype is what kills movies so much. And then I wish they could just stealth release, just drop it, and then there it is. And now I'm eating those words, because it's there's so many things I probably watched that if I don't write down, or if I look back on our schedule, it's oh yeah, I did watch that this year. Steve's been saying this for a long time now, but the staying power of movies these days is so vapid, so not there, and it sucks, man.
It's especially with streaming movies too, when Steve brought that up, because when you go to a theater to go watch a movie, you're doing something, you gotta you get dressed, get in your car, drive. You make it an event out of the day. So you remembering that movie is a lot easier than you just laying in your bed, pulling out your phone and being I guess I'll watch The Harder They Fall real quick.
It's tied to a tangible experience. You had to put labor and effort into going to see it versus, in your underwear with your animals or whatever, watching it on the couch. You know what I mean? Their effort is tied to it, because then you remember the events leading up to going to the theater.
I will say that Belfast in particular has given me an experience of oh, right, this isn't on streaming. I need to look up a movie. I need to look up a theater. I did see No Time to Die in theater, so it's not I'm completely I completely forgot how to go to a theater, but it's
no,
yeah, I should
it's been a minute since we did a theater movie.
I need to schedule this and make room, and I've been super busy this week. I almost didn't watch it. And I missed the first 5 minutes of. I feel really bad, because I do believe I'm a hypocrite, but I do believe in the theater experience, and I'm very glad I watched this movie in theaters, because especially if it's black and white, I feel I don't know, absorb it more. But yeah, the landscape has changed. The pandemic has accelerated this evolution, and I don't know if there's any going back. There'll be some going back, but never truly going back, and it's interesting.
Yeah, especially with all these streaming services contracting different creators and everything like that, the big contracts, it's going to be here to stay. You're going to have a hugely saturated landscape. I mean, I go back now and look at just my movie watching schedule, just movies I've seen, new movies, 2021 movies that I've seen this year, and it's huge, because it's last year it was predominantly streaming, and this year I've added in going back to the theater on top of streaming.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of stuff. But we're coming with a good show. We're an hour late, but we'll make it work. We've got a review of Taylor Swift, brief review. I don't want to go too long with it. At the end of All Too Well, the short film, the brand new Taylor Swift short film released in conjunction with her album Red Taylor's version because she's re-recording and re-releasing all of her albums. Red just happens to be the latest one on the docket there. Dom, you got a lot of headroom. I want to say that right now. You got a lot of headroom on the camera.
I'm wearing a shirt that I realized I never took off, so I should probably, I don't know. We'll continue on. Oh, can you even see my face?
He left his what did he leave his QAnon shirt on or something?
Oh, you got me.
I don't know if you've seen the new Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, but I could make a reference to that. But moreover, we got that. We got a review of Belfast as well, the new Kenneth Branagh movie now in theaters. And then we're talking MoviePass, one of the undying staples of the program. There needs to be a Mount Rushmore of things that keep Sleepless alive. It would be Tenet. It would be MoviePass. It would be
Rust at this point. That's being carved into the mountain now.
Rust. And it would be, I don't want to say Clifford because we only talked about it like twice. iCarly. That's probably your Sleepless Mount
there we
Rushmore
go.
Right there.
That's your Dan Schneider.
Slash Dan Schneider. Oh, God, yeah. We are truly professionals. I always say we don't break news, we sprain it. But moreover, we might as well dive into the MoviePass segment because I saw this, I think the day after, or I think last Thursday, I think the day after we did the show, how MoviePass might see a comeback in the year of hopefully not our Lord and Savior 2022, because we've had multiple of those over the last few years as far as I'm concerned. But MoviePass co-founder is apparently relaunching the company. Stacy Spikes gave this statement, quote unquote, "I can confirm that we acquired MoviePass out of bankruptcy on Wednesday. We are thrilled to have it back and are exploring the possibility of relaunching soon. Our pursuit to reclaim the brand was encouraged by the continued interest from the movie-going community. We believe if done properly, theatrical subscription can play an instrumental role in lifting movie-going attendance to new heights." Ballsy of them to try to relaunch this thing, much less in the middle of a pandemic when box office receipts are climbing back slowly but surely. But of MoviePass, if you do not remember MoviePass, that was that illustrious service that really should have sponsored Sleepless with Steve with how big it contributed to the radio show back in the day. It was an awesome service. It had been around for many years, but it gained notoriety, I believe, in 2017 when they dropped the price. I think 2016, 2017.
2017.
It was a 2017. It was the subscription-based movie service that essentially you played a flat rate. I believe at the original it was about $30, $40, and you could see an unlimited amount of movies in theaters on any given month. Now, even at $30 to $40 a month, I hadn't heard of it until this price drop, the initial price drop in 2017. But even, I mean, for somebody like me, it would pay dues to have that thing. It would easily pay dues to have it.
Mm-hmm.
But it really gained fame and traction when they dropped the subscription price to $10 a month. That's right, $10 a month. And you could see however many movies you wanted to in theaters. And basically, if you lived in a popular metropolitan, if you lived in the suburbs, you could pay easily for a movie, for the subscription with one ticket. It was not hard.
Yeah.
And eventually, what the name of the game was, they dropped the price, and then the company was acquired by a data analytics company known as Helios and Matheson. And they got it basically to mine the hell out of data. And I'm over here like, take my wife and kids. I just want to see movies for $10 a month. And that's what they did. But then shockingly, to the surprise of no one, even those like us who exploited the service and inevitably fast-tracked its cruel demise, was that is not a sustainable business model, because you have more money that is being subsidized of the movie tickets than money coming in from the subscription service in and of itself. So after multiple updates, patches, amendments to the app, like you had to take a picture of the movie ticket after purchasing to verify you were seeing the thing. After multiple patches, it just got to the point for a lot of people as we slowly jumped ship. I think I jumped ship a few weeks or months before Joe did. Is that it just became more and more unreliable. They implemented a surge pricing feature, which got really irritating. Yeah. That was the worst. I could deal with uploading a movie ticket photo.
Around the time I started jumping ship is when they introduced that in August of 2018.
Yeah.
Because around that time I was like, okay, I don't know about this. It wasn't until, and this is why I remember, because I hated this movie because I had to pay extra money to go see it because of the surge pricing. I went to go see Venom, and I had to pay extra price to go see it. And I literally got out of the theater, and I went to go see it at AMC, and right before AMC started the movie, they showed their A-list program, and then right when the movie ended, I went to the front desk and I signed up for A-List and canceled my MoviePass subscription.
Not a bad decision, because A-List is probably still the best movie-going subscription service on the market. But moreover, though, so MoviePass failed. It went bankrupt. And MoviePass at the time, too, they were dipping their toe even in the film distribution circle, because they released American Animals, one of the best movies of the year 2018. And they also released Gotti, one of the worst movies of the year 2018.
We got our toes in both.
They were even-handed. They also released a few more, and then they sold off a handful to other distributors.
Yeah.
But they're making a comeback, according to Stacy Spikes, the co-founder, who has acquired the service. Now, it's not to be confused a few months ago. This is legit. If you remember, I think it was earlier this year when it was rumored that MoviePass was making a comeback, but it was a prank site that we all fell for. Yep. That was fun. This, though, is legit. I don't know the direction they're going to go with it. And I wonder, is the brand tainted enough, or tainted to begin with, that it's going to stifle any sort of ambition with this? Because I don't know. I think even at $20 a month, it might not be fiscally sustainable for them, but I think $20, $25 a month, if you go to the movies frequently, I think that you can justify the prices. I think for even heavy users like myself, you can justify 30 to a degree. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging, I think, in this day and age. Not only because the brand is tainted, but you also have people now, I think the last year, at least since things started opening up domestically in the United States, you have more and more people realizing now that the cheaper than cable slogan for streaming services is a little bit becoming a myth, because of the volume of streaming services that exist that are already HBO Max $14.99, Netflix, what are they out now, $14.99?
They are, yeah.
Disney Plus $7.99. They're up now. You know, you're at the point now where people are paying for so many subscription-based services on top of whatever they get. If they get HelloFresh, if they get, I don't know, Planet Fitness, if they actually work out. There are people that do that apparently for fun. You know, on top of all the subscriptions we have in our life, we have a lot. Most of us have at least one or two streaming services. We have a lot that's money invested in our entertainment. Is MoviePass going to be attractive enough, especially because that $10 price is not coming back? That I can assure you. Is it going to be attractive enough to compete? And that's the big question. I don't know. I have my doubts, especially just given the brand name and the image it conveys. Joe, what say you with MoviePass?
I mean, like, I just want to share, like, you know, my history with it. Yeah, no, Steve and I talked about this back in 2017 of December, where we were, like, speculating about the whole thing. It's funny. Like, you go back and you actually listen to our weekly show that we did, and throughout the month of December, the first week, we were like, this thing's not going to be a good idea. This thing's going to suck. And then the second week, it made, like, I forgot what movie it was, but it was a movie that, like, obviously, like, without MoviePass, it would have never made money at the box office, and it ended up winning, like, an Oscar. It was, like, some Oscar-nominated film. I forget which one. And we were like, okay, like, that's cool. Like, people are using MoviePass to go see some of these, like, you know, Oscar-nominated films that they normally probably wouldn't go see because they have no interest in it. That's pretty cool. And then by the third week, we both were like, you know what? I think next year we're going to sign up for this. And yeah, in 2018, I remember the first movie I went to go see with it was Paddington 2. And from there on out, 117 movies later, I saw like a ton of stuff with MoviePass. I abused the hell out of it. I only paid $120 for a year, and I saw 118 movies. You can do the math when it comes to that. Theaters by my house, tickets cost either $12 or $13. So I saved a ton of money from abusing this thing, man. I probably am the reason why I went bankrupt, along with Steve and many others. In all honesty, as much as I love A-List and everything, if MoviePass comes back and if it's $20 a month, out of convenience sake, I think I would sign up for it. Because as much as I do love A-List, and I think it's a great deal, 3 movies a week, and you can see it in any format you want, 3D, IMAX, Dolby, whatever. The closest AMC to my house is 10 miles away. I have a Charlestown Cinemark right down the street. I have a Marcus Theater right down the street that are 5 to 6 miles away. On the way home, I have another theater I see. And it's just like, on the way home from work, I should say, I pass up another theater. And it's just like, I can literally get MoviePass and just see movies after work, see movies way closer to my house than to drive all the way to AMC to go see anything. And not that I don't mind going to AMC, but I'm getting a little sick and tired of AMC's promos that we've been talking about in our chat from time to time. If you've been to an AMC lately, you know what I'm talking about. Nicole Kidman pops up on the screen now to tell you about how amazing it is to go to AMC. Then they show you a Coca-Cola ad. Then they show you...
Cinemark's got cryptocurrency ads playing before movies now.
It's at AMC too now. It's at AMC as well. The last movie we had to go to...
The Matt Damon one? Was it the Matt Damon one?
Yeah, where he's like in a white room and
that
talking.
aggravated the crap out of me.
So, because when I went to go see Eternals, that was playing in the theater, and I'm just like, all right. Yeah, I'm... As much as I am like, it's probably not going to work out. It's probably going to fail again. I'm excited for it to come back, because if it's just as good of a deal... I'm totally going to sign up for it and totally abuse it and totally be the cause of its demise again. But I'm going to ride out that wave as long as I could, just like I did back in 2018. Because, yeah, man, to me, it was the best subscription service. Even the copycats that came out around the time. You had Cinemia try to do their thing, and, like, I don't even know if that's even a service anymore.
It isn't.
It isn't. Yeah, there we go. Like, I mean,
Nope.
I don't think that lasted even as long as MoviePass did. Even when it went down to $10 a month. You also had, like, Cinemark had their weird thing where it was like you pay $8.95 a month to see one movie, but you get like a ton of discounts. Club. Yeah, you get a ton of discounts at concessions. It's just like, okay, so you pay the price of a ticket to go see a movie, but I get 20% off my popcorn when I could just, like, I don't know, sneak in candy. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, AMC definitely has the best deal out of all of them, but, like, again, it's just like, if you don't live near an AMC like I do, MoviePass might be the way to go. As Steve said, I would totally be fine with paying $20 a month, hell, even $30 a month, if that means, like, yeah, I could just go right down the street. That saves me money on gas and traveling and everything.
Dom, what say you?
I never actually participated in any of that. I pay for each movie as is. I just go straight in, so I freeload off of pretty much every streaming service, including off of you guys. So thank you. But I will say it is interesting. Steve, you mentioned earlier how, is the name too poisoned? Probably for investors. For everyone else, I think it's hype. From what I'm hearing from you guys and from a couple other people.
I've sent it to friends that I convinced MoviePass was coming. I mean, MoviePass was a great deal. When I sent it to them, they actually were very happy to see that. And they all said the same thing, too. I'll pay more money to, go see movies and everything with MoviePass, but I know it's not going to last long, but I'm hella excited to go back to the theater by using this thing.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how it's run. The fact that one of the co-founders bought this up is interesting. If it was like a different company that just happens to want to buy the name or whatever, then okay, sure, fresh start. But the fact that it's a co-founder, maybe this is the co-founder that was like screaming that, from the tops of the mountains that this is a sinking ship. Maybe it's that one, and then this time they're going to be the competent ones about this. I don't know, man. That College Humor video where it's the CEO of MoviePass, that really is perfect. It really does perfectly describe just how poorly this thing was planned, if at all, other than the trendy, hey, what if we did a subscription model for movies, actual movies? And then and it's like, oh, who knew they made like dozens of movies a year? Oh, they make hundreds, oh, thousands, and then just stares off into the distance. And it's like, yep, that's pretty much, I'm sure that's pretty much how it went. It had to have, because it was a steal. It really was a once in a lifetime steal. Yeah. So they're not going to make that same mistake again.
At the bottom of my article, even Screen Crush says it here. It's just like the real reason people loved MoviePass was because it was an impossibly good deal. It really was. I mean, I can't stress that enough. Steve and I, every week, like, it should have been a sponsor on Sleepless with Steve back on the radio show of WNC 89.1. because like every week we talked about how much we've been using it and how much we've enjoyed it, and like we've talked about service updates with it when you had to start taking photos and we used to give the finger to the camera with our ticket.
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
It was great.
I will say, will MoviePass stay on brand, and will they give the people what they want, which is tank their own profits and give us really too good to be true deals? Will they do it? I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out.
I wish I would have sent this to Joe and been prudent so he could have showed this at the end. But one of my all-time favorite memes is that meme of the young woman helping her grandmother with the walker, and she's like, when I was young, I paid $10 a month and saw every movie I wanted in the theaters. That's nice, Graham. Let's get you to bed.
I love that meme.
I swear to God, man, that's how MoviePass was. Because like my parents' friends and stuff, when they would come over, I would tell them about it, and they were like, well, that doesn't make any sense. How do they make money? I don't know. Some venture capitalists are getting hosed, and I'm seeing a ton of movies. I do not care. This is good time, not a long time stuff, baby.
How are they making money? That's the neat part. They don't.
Yeah, that's the fun part. And it subsidizes my passion. Yeah, I hope it comes back. I hope it comes back. The world ain't been the same since MoviePass died.
I love going to see bad movies just because it's just like, I mean, I'm practically seeing it for free at this point. I've seen 20 other movies this month. Like,
the only thing that it was an inconvenience for, and it really didn't apply to us much, but you could only buy one ticket, if I remember right.
One ticket a day.
It was one ticket a day. And it was, so like if you were going as a couple or a family, it really wasn't a really prudent option to do that. But for single guys, men and women like us.
Or if you go with friends and like, you just all agree to a showtime. That's typically what I did. It's just like they would tell me like, hey, we're going to go to the 6 p.m. showtime. I'd be like, cool, I'm going to check in, meet you guys there.
That's exactly right. It was just convenient as all hell. If you went to the movies alone, or at least like as a group, and you had your own ticket and stuff, it was massively convenient. And I hope it makes a comeback, and I hope it's something worth talking about, because this surely isn't the last time we're bringing it up on the show. We'll march forward, however, might as well keep things moving. Joe going to have to sit this one out. We were reviewing Kenneth Branagh's Belfast. Did not get a chance to see it. We don't judge him much.
I didn't get to see it. Even though Don missed the first 5 minutes, I missed the entire hour and 34 minutes.
I was 10 minutes early to my showing. I got there before the previews. I got to see Maria Menounos and eat my popcorn. It was a treat. It was a treat. Belfast, the new Kenneth Branagh movie, now in theaters, black and white drama set in 1969 Northern Ireland. This is a different kind of summer of 69, wouldn't you say? This is a different kind of summer of 69. It's easily Kenneth Branagh's most personal movie to date. I think you can say that pretty confidently. It's easily his most personal movie to date. It is a movie that deals with the Troubles conflict of 1969, and I think that lasted a few years. It was a few
years, let's say a few decades, and possibly centuries. Not the Troubles specifically, but it's a history that goes back centuries.
It's an ethnocentric conflict between the Protestants and the Catholics in that region. I think it manifested in the 60s and extended actually into like the 80s and 90s, truthfully. Yeah. Yes, you're better at history than I am. But moreover, this is a very interesting, well-made ensemble. I'm going to say this right now to Kenneth Branagh, because Lord knows he's watching. I forgive you for Artemis Fowl. I accept your apology, because this was a damn good movie, all things considered. It's a crowd pleaser, but it's not always happy. It's not always lighthearted. It's got some really, really violent moments in it. It's got some moments of jubilation. It's got some quiet moments, and it's got some moments that just smack you upside the head with violence and the sheer gravity of the conflict that was the Troubles conflict. And again, most personal film to date. You got a lot of good actors in here. Jude Hill makes his debut as the 9-year-old boy Buddy, who's kind of like the stand-in for Branagh, you could believe. You have Jamie Dornan and Catriona Balfe as the mother and father of Buddy. You have Judi Dench and and I can never say his name right. I should have looked it up beforehand. He's an Irish actor. Hins. He is also the grandfather in the movie too. So it's a very delightful ensemble too. And I will say too, Jamie Dornan can act. He can absolutely act. I was getting nervous there for a minute. I was getting nervous. He can absolutely act.
That was the one thing I wanted to ask you guys. I'm like, how is Jamie Dornan actually? Does he emote? Because I mean, Dakota Johnson to me has like, yeah, she's shown her like chops with movies after the 50 Shades ones. But like, I was like, I haven't seen Jamie Dornan in anything. This was like the first thing I was like, oh look, he's in a movie.
It's a Twilight situation where it's like, oh, okay,
yeah,
these actors can act. It's just that they were given the worst possibles.
Yeah,
to like work with.
I'm not saying he's as good as Jude Hill over here. Let's stop yourself. But I mean, he's good. Jamie Dornan is good. He plays the character well. There's a handful of things we can get into, different directions we can take on this. I mean, the videography in its own, I think, deserves some attention as well. We can get into that too. But there's a lot here that's very good. And I'll throw it over to you with that, Dom.
Yeah. So whenever people think about sectarian violence or religious upheaval and all that stuff, they think like the Middle East, because post 9/11 world that we grew up in, and think, oh, the Sunni Shiite stuff, that stuff's so complicated. I don't really get it, bro. There's a corner of the world much closer to the West, much closer to the first world, where that shit's been happening for quite a long time, and it kind of got settled. But even to this day, and with Brexit and all that stuff, it's still, who knows? But to be honest with you, it goes to show that religious violence and just political upheaval, it's no stranger to anyone. It really is a universal human thing, and that is what this movie is really trying to tackle. It's really trying to put the human face. Really the kind of the standard person. Other movies that have tackled the Troubles, they like to focus on soldiers, like to focus on members of the IRA. They like to focus on people, like they have to make a choice between this and that. They have to pick a side and take part in it. And certainly there's an element of it here too in Belfast. But for the most part, it really is just watching this kid grow up, buddy, and just try to survive. And it's through their eyes and through this family's eyes that it becomes shockingly mundane. There are parts of this movie where I actually did forget that we were in the Troubles for a moment. It doesn't let you, it's actually well constructed. Is a positive, where this movie, it does make you forget for a little bit, and it does let you revel and joy in just, hey, this is just a family here. I'm not even thinking an Irish family. This is just a regular family enjoying Christmas, enjoying time off, enjoying time together. And it's buoyed not just by the kids and the honest acting here, the parents, but my God, Judi Dench and I'm going to mess it up too, Syrian Hins. They really do knock it out of the park as the grandparents, which is that pivotal anchor in any family unit that harken to the past. It really is beautiful. And there are moments where long periods of seemingly long, it'll feel like long periods of time where you're getting into this family dynamic. And then you'll just, oh yeah, there's like soldiers in the corner of this street, and they don't do anything. They don't come up to the family and beat them, or, there's a bomb there's obviously elements of violence here. And they do when they pop up, they happen. They punctuate the chapters of this story, but it's a constant presence, not just the soldiers, but just the violence, the Troubles, right, in general. And you see it take its toll on this family, and you see it take its toll on these kids. And that is a cost of war, a cost of violence, a cost of terrorism, that and oppression that I think Belfast really hits. It's not as obvious. It's not as front facing. For a lot of people, I imagine they might walk away with this, thinking it's more of a family drama with the backdrop of the Troubles. But to be honest with you, I think this is a very much a movie about the troubles, just because that is the mundaneness of it. When you're under seemingly occupation, I should mention this takes place in Northern Ireland, right? It's technically not occupation if if it's technically your own troops, but that's up for a lot of debate. But that is the aspect of it. Just everyday survival. You could go to terrorist attacks. You could highlight the battles and the big moments, and certainly a lot of movies do that. And this movie, has moments of it, but really for the most part, it's just families living their day to day. Right. It's about a guy trying to make money for his family, and just on top of the typical strains of family life, that we have it here. You just have, you've got tanks rolling through the streets every now and then, and you've got dudes with torches. I didn't know that. It's like, we're just gonna have patrols of dudes with torches walking around, and it's like, okay, cool. That was an image there. But yeah, Steve, that's it. That is what really struck me the most about this movie.
All good points. Yeah, the mundaneness, I think, is a good point, because this is a fairly, save for four, I would say maybe four scenes, this is a pretty quiet movie.
Mhm.
It's a pretty quiet, honest, understated movie. And it's really nice in that way. I like, there's a lot of interesting things happening with the shot structure in this movie.
Yes.
Because a lot of the shots, especially interiors, are set on canted angles. So what that allows is you kind of get the shot on an angle where you can see what's occurring in the foreground, and you get a taste of the next room. You get a taste of the next room. You can see in it. You can't see completely, but it's almost like a play. You can see characters enter and exit. And since the movie is so ingrained on Buddy, the young boy's perspective, the movie is so ingrained in his perspective that sometimes you just hear dialogue through just overheard whispers. You don't even really hear the full thing, or you hear bits and pieces of it, kind of because you're inserted in the way that Buddy is experiencing the world.
There's a scene that struck me, actually, that